That's outrageous. £300 per CD. How much are they paying Nicholas Briggs? Hello, and welcome to Wellington, capital city of Aotearoa, New Zealand, site of the first Doctor Who exhibition to take place outside the UK in God knows how long. Welcome to Worlds of Wonder. A couple of months ago, I got in touch with the Wellington Tourist Board and I found out that Worlds of Wonder was coming to Aotearoa. It had previously been in situ in Liverpool and Edinburgh, and unbelievably, it was coming to the opposite side of the world where I decided to move to. I thought, brilliant! I haven't had enough TARDISes, Daleks to enjoy while I've been here, so it was a fantastic opportunity, and they decided to fly us down to take in all that Worlds of Wonder had to offer. We are within spitting distance of Tākina, which is on the other side of Te Papa, the National Museum of New Zealand, here on beautiful Wellington's very cold waterfront. So I'm going to do this really, really quickly. I'm looking for three things out of this exhibition. I'm looking for content, so the exhibits that are on display and how well they've been looked after. I'm looking at the space, so that includes how they're displayed and the area you're moving around. I'm thinking of all the different exhibitions I've been to over the years, like Longley and Llangollen and the Olympia and Cardiff versions, the Doctor Who experience. They use their locations really, really well. The third thing I'm looking for is how much this fills your senses with Doctor Who, because I'm sure we've all got experiences of going around Doctor Who exhibitions and museums over the years where you can hear the theme tune blaring in your ears, you can hear sound bites in the corner, another corner's got a Dalek bleating at you. So these are all really important factors in terms of actually making you feel like you're walking through the adventures, you're part of the story. So it's freezing cold, I've said enough, let's get to it.
I'm coming to find you, and I will never ever stop. I'm the Doctor.
Already slightly off-brand, with the Whittaker era theme playing in the background, which is interesting, unless they cycle through them, of course. But come on.
I'm coming to find you.
I've always wanted just like 30 minutes in a room with nobody around, just to like be with the console one day. Just to sort of, that sounds very sexual.
It does.
I mean, like, I'm not going to rub up against it or anything, but I just want to like,
And that is exactly why they put cords
yeah.
across these exhibits, like these
And that's
gems.
exactly why they are waist height. But you know what I mean? It's just like, it's like the pure anxiety of people knowing you're a Doctor Who fan. But then to know that all you really want to do as a Doctor Who fan is just to have 30 minutes in the console room, just to play with buttons, pretend you're piloting somewhere. It's very, you know, it's a very Arrested Development thing to say.
You like a button, don't you?
I love a button. I don't think Johnny would be that interested in this one, but we'll see if there's something else that will pique his Hanky Wrangler-esqueness later on. This is my kind of show. It's nice to see them so up close and personal, actually, especially the new one. Well, not the new one, the old new one, which is the 14th Doctor's Sonic on display. Because I haven't held the toy version and I haven't seen the prop in person before, you can really see how much of a collision of different designs from the past. This is 1 2 1 2 1 2. I'm not going to embarrass myself by screaming exterminate. I don't know what model of Dalek that is, but I've never seen it before. I mean, I know there's older stuff here, but even just seeing the Nosferatu from Dragonfire, it says here built in 1987, and it's quite a small piece with some intricate detailing on it, and I'm sure it's been restored, but to actually see it making its way out here in one piece is really neat. And I think that might be the TARDIS from Flatline as well, which looks about as old in terms of the state that it's in. I wonder if there's a point after the fact that, you know, after the program had taken off and become a big success and they started putting exhibitions and museums around the country, I wonder if there's a point where, say when they're designing the Fisher King, where they went, well, this is going to be on display for like 50 years, because stuff like the K1 robot and other stuff that we're going to see in a bit has been on display at various exhibits for nearly sort of something like 40, 50 years in some cases. And I know this is relatively new by comparison, but the fact this is still so detailed makes me think that maybe some work was put in, some thought was put in at the time to ensure that these could be preserved for display in the sort of years and decades to come. Because this was built when? This was built for season 9 in 2015, and this is 9 years later, and it looks like it was made yesterday. It's, pretty remarkable. Welcome to Dennis Nielsen's cupboard. Are dead. You can stick your executive producer job. You can stick your script editor job. I don't even want to direct Doctor Who. I don't even want to be Doctor Who.
He does.
All I want to be in life, just for one day on set, is I want to play a Cyberman. Because look, you know, he's got a couple of inches on me with this bass. But look, we're the same. I went to the David Banks School of Acting, which involves a lot of fist clenching and sweeping movements and stuff like that. I can be a Cyberman. It's easy. This is nearly 50 years old, this costume. And it's obviously had a lot of work done to it. There's a really, really cool video on the Doctor Who YouTube channel where Luke Spillane goes to Mike Tucker's workshop and they talk about the restoration that was put into lots of stuff for, I think at the time it was The Experience, and specifically they talk about Morbius. But to think, like, you know, this was a latex creation which has survived nearly 50 years in storage, as well as being carted from convention to convention. And a lot has gone into making sure it is presentable and it looks as close as it did to the screen-used version back in 1976. But to say that nearly 50 years on, we can still actually see Morbius in situ at an event on the other side of the planet from where this was created and shot for TV is really remarkable. We're here with Max. Max, you were here with the AM News crew?
Yeah.
Doing a live link this morning as part of the exhibit opening. Firstly, as clearly a Doctor Who fan, Max.
Oh, really?
Not that you can tell. I have to ask what this means to you with this being here.
Oh, I mean, it's incredible, like seeing, you know, all the exhibits and things like that. Usually, the closest I get to it is like a little action figure or something on my desk. So actually seeing it in the flesh, not being quite able to touch it, but being able to...
Without being carted out.
Yeah. It's really incredible.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And for you, in that case, what is the thing that's really struck you here the most as like an exhibit that is sort of taking your breath away? Because, you know, nothing like this has ever come to New Zealand before.
Yeah, I mean, walking through those TARDIS doors and being greeted with William Hartnell's TARDIS console, having it all spinning, all lighting up, is just, I mean, it's incredible. I get chills, you know what I mean?
Oh, mate. Now, I did lament when we first went in a sort of weird mishmash of Jodie Whittaker imagery and iconography, but with the 60th anniversary onwards logo on the outside, but there was very little of that inside. But nice to see DT has made an appearance with his very flashy 14th Doctor costume, and if you come this side, Shooty is also represented here, which is fantastic to see. So, you know, it's not a lot of stuff from 2023 onwards, but there was obviously a lot of planning going into this from hearing from the curator, Stephen. And it meant that a lot of stuff was kind of not rushed together, but they had to do a lot of stuff in a very short turnaround time. And the promise is that this will constantly be updated, they'll be constantly adding new stuff to it. So it's great to see it here on the other side of the world, and it's nice to know that it will get fleshed out as time goes on. So that's it. Here we are, Wellington Airport, at the end of our journey. However, we received a tip-off from Max, who you saw, tells us that it's quite possible to find another TARDIS at Wellington Airport. Now, don't ask me why this is here. Don't ask me when this got here. But it does go to prove that regardless as to whether or not the exhibition is there, there's still a very dedicated following here in New Zealand. And it's just nice to know that once all this is gone and the exhibition moves to the United States and then maybe goes back to Europe or wherever, there will always be a nice chunk of Doctor Who here in Wellington. So I was obviously grading this on 3 principles: content, space, and general vibe. How much of your senses are filled with Doctor Who. So I would say, in terms of content, it's for a fan who's based in New Zealand, who's not gone to conventions outside or exhibitions, it's a 10 out of 10. For me, who's seen a lot of this stuff, it's really nicely presented, but I would have liked to have seen some 2023 post 60th anniversary stuff in there.
On New Zealand flight 454 to Auckland.
That's us. Space, 10 out of 10. Vibe, 8 out of 10. I mean, look, if you've never seen any of this stuff before, it's absolutely worth going to, especially down here in New Zealand.